Welcome to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody_CHGO and on TikTok and Instagram as well. If you're into those platforms, welcome back. Illinois' first game of the season was last night. We're going to bring up the old box score here on the side. That way it doesn't look as awkward. Let's do that real quick. Boom. We're not going to share the audio there. Okay. Yeah, I believe it's up now. There we go. Welcome. Illinois beats Eastern Illinois. My alma mater 112-67, I believe. I just want to say Eastern, as a proud alum, I would just like to say last year they covered, and the year before they covered. Can't cover every single year. Let's just be honest about it. Can't cover every single year. That's my official statement. That's my official statement as Illinois demolishes my alma mater. I just want to say that. As everyone knows, I grew up an Illini fan, so I like both schools, obviously, but my heart leans with Illinois when it comes to athletics because Eastern has just never been good at anything outside of a few years with Jimmy Garoppolo and Tony Romo and Sean Payton, right? So that's that. That's my official statement, and that's where I'm leaving it. Some important things to note before we get started. As you can see in the bottom of the screen, I have created a new phone number. You guys, if you want, you can call that phone number and leave a voicemail with your thoughts related to how you're feeling about Illinois and stuff like that. I think it's a fun feature. I have it set on Do Not Disturb. So if you're calling to troll and try and just blow my phone up, it just won't do that. So I just to let you know. But if you want to call me a voicemail, I'll play it on future show, probably the next show after I get it. So I thought it'd be a fun feature for this season. On top of the fact, got new graphics. We changed the name a little bit. We're trying to improve off year one. Year one was fun. We went over 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel before the season started, which is huge. I want to give I think I've already basically given a shout out to a lot of people who've helped me done that. It allowed me to apply for YouTube's partnership program, which will eventually, once it passes, it means that people can send super chats to help support the show and me, and among other things as well. So again, can't do this without y'all. So I can't stress it enough. It means a lot that the people that give a crap about what I have to say about Illinois basketball, it means a lot. And there's a lot of great Illinois content creators out there. I've had Sonny Verma on here. He does Locked on Illini and Illini Cast. I've had Mike Carpenter on here before. There's a lot of great Illinois athletics content people. Now, I obviously just do the basketball team. Those guys are doing it year round with the football team and everything. And I don't have the time to do that. But after the Cubs, Illinois has always been my second or third love. It depends on when the Bears are good, and the Bears are never good. So, and to be honest with you, Illinois is the only thing that's ever good in the last 5 years of my life. It's really sad that that's the case, but we are where we are, and I celebrate the fact when basketball season comes around because it's one of the few things that I can hold my head up high about. So yeah, that's the spiel. Okay. So I feel like we need to start with what I think is the biggest news. Like, the game is over. Like, everyone's seen the highlights for the game, and we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about, certain players. I see Fighting Illini 23 in the chat. He says, build the Will Riley statue now. We'll talk about Will Riley as the show goes along. We're going to talk about DGL and stuff, but I have to start with Ty Rodgers. Okay. I put up a video. If you follow me on TikTok or if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, obviously, I put up a short last night. It's the same video of me kind of reacting to the Ty Rodgers deciding to redshirt. And I just have to say that it was shocking. I'm still kind of in shock. And there's a lot of things that we can unpack with it. I just want to say, I guess to start, I just want to say that, like, Ty Rodgers is one of my favorite players for Illinois last year. The guy doesn't score. Like, he had a few games where he kind of went off, because he was able to get to the basket and he gets the free throw line a little bit. Like he had some quote unquote Ty Rodgers games, right? But is he better than Will Riley or some of the guys that are probably in his place now? No, he just isn't. All right. Will Riley just put up 31 in his freshman debut last night. Okay. That's fair. That's fair to say. That said, Ty Rodgers, I feel like, and I genuinely hope I'm wrong about this. I hope I'm wrong about this. Ty Rodgers is a guy that I feel like this team is going to need come March. I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope I'm wrong. But he's one of the few veterans on this team. With him redshirting now, you're like what Kylan Boswell and Ben Humruckus and Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. Like, and, Kylan Boswell, sure. Like, he's a junior now. He's got a lot of games under his belt. But we're talking about guys who've already been here. And, like, that's the only person left is Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. And I'm like, I don't know. There's already very little continuity going into this season. Very little team chemistry built. It scares me about the potential down the road. I hope I'm wrong, folks. I hope I'm wrong. I do think Will Riley and Trey White and all these guys that are basically in Ty Rodgers' spot, I do believe that those players are better than Ty Rodgers. But every team needs a glue guy. Every team does. DeMonte Williams was a key part of this program when they were a 1 seed a few years ago. I know they lost to Loyola that year, but like they were a 1 seed for a reason. He was a big part of that team's success. I just feel like every team needs a glue guy. I don't know who the glue guy is going to be. I hope one emerges. I certainly hope one emerges. I hope I feel a lot different about this situation in 2 months. Last year, when Sincere Harris decided to redshirt as well, it's like the same situation all over again. When he decided to do that, I too was worried. But Marcus Domask emerged. You saw other guys perform. Justin Harmon was a great transfer that they brought in and kind of played basically that role. Did they miss his defense? I guess. But the way that Illinois wants to play, I understand why. Not only that, after talking to Brad Underwood, Ty Rodgers decided to redshirt. They threw up 42 threes last night. And when Ty Rodgers is on the court, it's almost like Illinois plays 5-on-4. So there are pros and cons to it for me. Absolutely. There are pros and cons to it. This guy, especially with experience, veteran leadership, all these unmeasurables, I do feel like it could come back to haunt Illinois down the road. But I hope I'm wrong. I certainly hope I'm wrong. So that's my overall thoughts on it. Okay. So I do have audio from Brad Underwood talking about Ty Rodgers. And so I'm going to share that here in a second. We're going to remove this. Okay, remove. Okay. Here's Brad Underwood. This is from WCIA in Champaign. Brad Underwood on Ty Rodgers.
And, there's no rhyme or reason to anything, but we sure hope he's an Illini.
Okay.
It's the world we're in. I think he's an Illini. I think he's our guy. We love Ty to death, but our world doesn't have any guarantees now, and so we'll do everything that we can do within our power to help him be as successful as he can be, and there's no rhyme or reason to anything, but we sure hope he's an Illini.
Okay. I guess it didn't start at the beginning. My bad. Anyway, Lyndon Johnson, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hadn't seen you in a while, man. He says in the chat, Ty will probably transfer just like Sincere Harris. Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like, there's nothing I've been more positive, or not positive, but like 100% sure that's going to happen. Never been more sure over the last 2 years of Illinois basketball. We'll just put a 2-year window of this. I've never been more sure about something than this. I had some optimism that maybe Sincere Harris would stay because they had a lot of guys who were going to be graduating after last season. And then here we are with this roster, and it makes sense on why Sincere Harris left. He also followed Chester Frazier to West Virginia, whatever. I think that there was a little bit more hope in me for that. But this, it is abundantly clear. Now, he's going to be with the team. He's going to practice with the team. He's probably going to be kind of like what Sincere Harris was last year. How many times did we watch games and you see Sincere Harris, on the bench celebrating, hyping up his guys, stuff like that? He'll be like that guy. I feel like that's what Ty Rodgers, will see him on the bench, and he'll be doing that all season for this team. And that's fine. And I don't think there's necessarily like, I feel like I don't need to like criticize the program for this or Brad Underwood. Like, the guys on the team that are going to be playing the position that he plays are all better than him. It's just the fact of the matter. That's kind of how I feel about it. It just gives me a lot of worry about down the road, because there just isn't a lot of veteran leadership on this team that's been here, So the team chemistry, continuity, stuff like that it bothers me. So now I have to give credit to Austin Berkland from Illini Cast. Great follow on Twitter if you're an Illinois fan. I was watching, him and Sonny were on Locked On Illini last night, and Austin brought up the thought of Tomislav being a reason that Ty Rodgers hung around as long as he did, because that was such a up in the air thing. Like, we really didn't know if he was going to be on the team coming into the year, I guess, to start at least. And once that went through, it kind of, I think the writing was on the wall in a way, right? So I feel like that's a valid point to why they waited this long to decide this. He could have transferred just like a bunch of other guys did, like Dane Danger and Amari Hansberry and whoever else I'm missing off the top of my head. He certainly could have done that, right? So, it is what it is. I feel bad for him because it just feels like you have freshmen coming in that are going to play over you and you're a junior. And I'll just speak from experience, okay? Like, and it's a lot different. I didn't play college basketball, but like, and I'll put my hand up, I wasn't a very good basketball player to begin with. Like, growing up, I was always the last guy off the bench. I'd come in when the team I played for was up 20 or down 20, all right? However, my junior year of high school, I was one of like 2 juniors on the JV team. And the freshmen and sophomores behind me were getting more playing time than me. And that led me to basically quitting the team, because it was like, in a way, it was kind of embarrassing. And I had this pride factor in me, and I was a completely different person back then. And I wasn't really about the team and all of these things in terms of my thinking back then. I was just pissed off because I felt like I worked really hard to try to earn some sort of role with the team on, like, with varsity, or at least get more playing time on JV. But the coaching staff just did not believe in me at all as any kind of player who could go out there even for JV and like help the team win. It's a whole other story. I'm just using it as an example. Like, imagine being Ty Rodgers and seeing these freshmen come in and getting more playing time than you. That's all I'm saying. And from my experience from when I was in high school, like, pride gets in the way, man. And so I don't necessarily blame him for wanting to redshirt or, go somewhere else. I really don't blame him at all. So it's a very just interesting thing. Like, in some ways, I guess if you want to blame Brad Underwood for some things, it's like he recruited under him. Like you had him. You're trying to, if you want him to stay around, you didn't have to recruit certain guys to come and basically take his spot. At the same time, though, they are better than him. And Ty Rodgers just doesn't really have an offensive game. The guy is afraid to take jump shots. Illinois social media putting out all these clips over the offseason of Ty Rodgers shooting, and now we're here where we're at. And it's like, it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So that's one of those things that I understand both sides. But my biggest question is the long-term effects. Jay in the chat, welcome back, man. Timing of this to me is odd. If you're going to transfer, why not do it during the summer? And like I said, Austin from Austin Berkland, he had a great point. I will not claim this is my thought. He had a great thought saying that, because of Tomislav, perhaps maybe sticking around just because that was kind of up in the air. He probably thought that they were going to have to play smaller, but he's here. And let's just say that he looked encouraging yesterday as well. So it is odd. And I think in some ways it makes you question like the whole everyday guys mantra for sure. Like, this has been one of the bigger, like, when people want to criticize Brad Underwood and building of the Illinois program, it's like they just don't have a lot of guys who come here and then stay here. There's guys coming in year after year that are different. You know what I mean? Like, maybe DGL will be different. The way DGL has played the exhibition game and today, and it's certainly given me some hope that if his season continues to be good, that he'll want to stick around for next year too. Ayo Dosunmu is probably like the last guy, really, right? I mean, Terrence Shannon was here for 2 years. Kofi Coburn was here for his entire college career. Coleman Hawkins, I shouldn't have said Ayo Dosunmu was the only one. Like, there's other guys. DeMonte Williams was here his entire college career. Like, they have some guys who spent their entire college career here. I also think you have to factor in just the state of where college basketball is right now too. Guys transferring all the time. And we never thought Coleman Hawkins was going to go play for another school, but he tried to go to the NBA again and decided to come back to college, probably because he could make more money, and for whatever reason decides to transfer. And I would assume it's because of who Illinois had coming in. Let me take a sip of water here as I sit here and talk to myself. All right. So these are basically my full-on thoughts on the Ty Rodgers red shirt. Do I think it's detrimental in the now? No. Do I think it could have long-term effects? Absolutely. All right. So we'll see what happens. I hope this team, this tough non-conference schedule that they have, I hope they form some continuity and some good team chemistry over the next 2 months. And we're sitting here in January and we're all feeling excited and ready to go on a run in March, man. Obviously that's like the best case scenario. That's what I'm optimistic for. And Brad Underwood has proven it over the last 5 years, that once the calendar flips, his teams take that next gear and they play better, and we have a chance going into March. Outside of 2022, the 2022 season, when you had all those problems with Sky Clark and all those guys, and Matthew Meyer, like, outside of that year, Illinois, they've been able to put together some really good teams somehow, some way. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to have some optimism about it, but I am worried about how things could look in March just because of how young this team is. and the fact that they just don't play a lot of defense. However, they were a better defensive team last night. Yes, it was against Eastern Illinois, but I digress. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the actual game. Again, Illinois wins 112-67 against my alma mater, Eastern Illinois University, just down the road, I-57 in Charleston. That school, they played in Champaign, obviously, at State Farm Center. First home game of the year. I unfortunately did not get to watch this game, and that's why I didn't do like a post game right after the game. It's like, how can I do it when I can't watch it? I don't have Big Ten Plus. Okay, I guess I could have streamed it illegally or some shit, but I didn't. I watched the Bulls game and I followed Illinois on my iPad on the ESPN app all night, whatever. And I was following their Twitter account. They're posting clips and stuff. So, obviously, the big story from this game, Will Riley in his freshman debut, in State Farm Center debut, 31 points, and just goes absolutely bonkers from three. And it has me. And now that let me pause that for a second. Now that I've gotten my negative energy out, allow me to get extremely delusional for like 5 minutes. All right. Allow me to get delusional for 5 minutes. Okay. Will Riley looked like he looked like a guy that himself could carry Illinois to a second weekend. That's what he looked like yesterday. And again, I know it was against Eastern Illinois, and I know that there's still a lot of things with this team that they have to get better on. However, you score 31 points you score 31 points in your freshman debut and your first home game with everyone chanting your name. It has me dreaming a little bit, okay? Has me dreaming a little bit. Here is Brad Underwood on Will Riley.
I don't think it matters for him. He's different. Will's got a different passion, motivation for the game than a lot of people. He's just got a gift that he gets lost in the world he's in. I saw that a lot with Michael Beasley, and I'm not trying to compare him to Mike, but you just play, and Will does that. He just plays the game the right way, and and when he gets on one, you just want to keep feeding the monster, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Again, I didn't get to really watch the game, but from the highlights alone, this guy can score off the dribble. When he gets hot from three, he gets hot from three. Like these are things that I feel like Illinois has missed over a handful of years. Like, this guy looks like he can go out and go get you a shot anytime from anywhere on the court, right? And so it has me dreaming a little bit, right? I am very optimistic about what Will Riley can bring Illinois this year. You talk about him, and you have KJ out there distributing the ball. You got Kylan Boswell out there also distributing the ball and being the elite three-point shooter that he is. And then DGL coming off the bench and scoring 20 points. And like, you just look all across this roster and you're like, how do we guard all these guys? Like, that is how I feel about this team. Like, if all things go correct, right? I didn't even mention Tomislav. I didn't even mention Humruckus, who also had a decent game. 14 points? Like, I just, that game, one game against a non-conference, mid-major school, whatever, you got a little bit of a taste of how good this team can be on any given night. 16 for 42 from three. Has me dreaming. We're shooting a lot of threes. Can we defend a little bit, right? How can we play? How will we play when we're not making all our threes? right? That's the question. Again, mid-major school, I understand, but I really do think you got a little bit of a taste of just how good this team can be. So you want me to flip it a little bit, right? Purdue didn't exactly impress in their first game at home against, I think it was Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They were in that game all the way through. North Carolina almost lost to Elon, right? Like those small schools, right? Illinois, a team that doesn't have a lot of returning players at all, literally just one. And the two schools I just mentioned, they do, including Purdue with Braden Smith, who's preseason All Big Ten. The fact that those two schools struggled on opening night, it doesn't have it. I'm just using them as examples of, yes, they played Eastern Illinois, but also putting up 112 points is kind of a statement. Like, yeah, this is how good we can be. All right, so that's kind of the way I look at it. Adam in the chat, he says, hate to see Ty go, but if he didn't develop a shot, his minutes were going to dwindle. Just too much talent in depth. And yeah, as we're talking about Will Riley right now, I mean, yeah, it's very clear that Will Riley is a much more talented, offensive player than Ty Rodgers. That's just the fact. It's just the fact of the matter. All right. So I get both sides from that, but yeah, I'm excited about Will Riley and the potential there, man. So overall, with his game, being able to basically pull up wherever he wants, it's something that I haven't seen from Illinois in a long time. All right. So excited to see his development and growth as the season goes along. I expect him to play well against SIUE on Friday. And, these next two games, these first three games in general, they're prep games for Alabama. And as we sit here right now, I don't have a lot of hope to win that game. I would like to just be in it, and hopefully it's a nice test. But as I'm here dreaming right now, you score 100 plus points again on Friday, I'll start to talk myself into beating Alabama. Okay. Now I wanted to save the last part of the show for a guy that I have been all for since last year and defending, I feel like, and that's Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. I mean, he was one of the few bright spots from the exhibition game, and he puts up 21 points last night, 4 of 8 from 3. I learned that his dad went to Eastern Illinois, and that's why he's played well against Eastern Illinois, and that's what he says basically. I am excited about where Dre Gibbs Lawhorn can help take Illinois. He's coming off the bench. He's coming off the bench and doing this. All right. Last show, I posed the question: can he be a better version of Justin Harmon? Right. I personally think he's a better player than Justin Harmon, and I don't think that's a hot take. I think there's more to his game than what Justin Harmon had. But in terms of the role, just that point guard, combo guard, whatever, off the bench that can come in, provide some three-point shooting. You saw him get out in the fast break with that pass from KJ on the fast break that led to a layup. You're seeing it all from DGL. He's shooting it well from 3. And this is all from just like, you think back to last year in the first 2 months of the year, everyone thinking DGL gonna transfer because he's not getting any playing time. He's got his mom on social media, going kind of crazy and all these things. And here he is after he shockingly decides to stay. And he had a really eye-opening NCAA tournament in terms of productive minutes provided in his small role. And here he is now. He has been with Ty Rodgers redshirting, he is now the most long-tenured Illini that will be playing. And, I don't think that's a hot take. I think there's more to his game than what Justin Harmon had. But in terms of the role, just that point guard, combo guard, whatever, off the bench that can come in, provide some three-point shooting. You saw him get out in the fast break with that pass from KJ on the fast break that led to a layup. You see it all from just like, you think back to last year in the first 2 months of the year, everyone thinking DGL gonna transfer because he's not getting any playing time. He's got his mom on social media, going kind of crazy and all these things. And here he is after he shockingly decides to stay. And here he is now. He has a really I think that can. I am hoping that translates in a positive direction for him and his game and this team. They asked him, the media asked him last night about like what he tried to do this offseason to improve as a player. And I'm going to share that right here. This is once again from WCIA.
I say the main thing I worked on is just trying to become a leader, of no matter what role I have, it's just being a leader, helping the guy stay level-minded, not too high, not too low, and just to keep the next game mentality, work for the next game.
Very simple answer, nothing too crazy about what he's saying there. But I love the answer. I love that he wants to try and be a better leader and not get too high and not get too low. I love his game, man. When he's out there, he defends. He can shoot the three. I was begging to see more DGL last year, and now we're finally seeing it. And Brad Underwood's had some really awesome things to say about him as well in postgame. I'm going to share that right now.
Will's.
Shit. That's the wrong one. That's Will Riley. Here we go.
Yeah, the best thing about Dre is, and I appreciated this so much about Dre last year, when he wasn't playing, he is genuinely happy when others succeed, and that is so contagious. I love that about Dre, and he's the cheerleader. All of our guys in our locker room know how hard he works and how much time he puts in. So that translates. He's an easy guy to root for because he's everything that we're about. And my hat's off to him because he's put in the work. He's seeing the rewards now, and it's just he's about the right things.
Okay. I was just saying, like, he's reaping the rewards of this, of kind of just sitting back and playing his role last year, didn't complain. And I love that for him. Like, this is kind of like what I grew up with. Like, I think a lot of us here watching me talking to my MacBook Air about Illinois basketball, like, we all kind of grew up like the young guys would have to sit back and wait a year or two to really get a full opportunity. And the older guys were always the ones who played, right? And obviously college basketball has changed so much. NIL is a big thing. And, guys can't just go straight to the NBA. So obviously the best talents are going to play. I just think that in this instance, it's very fun to see a guy who his freshman year didn't get a lot of run, didn't get as much of an opportunity as others, wait it out, work hard, try and become a better player over time. And now, as we're seeing it, it's just 2 games. It's an exhibition game against Ole Miss, and it's Eastern Illinois. But at this point, we're seeing this guy have some much-deserved success from just playing hard and doing what he's asked to do from his head coach. And I love that. I love that for him, man. I love that for him. So I was already a massive DGL guy, but I'm an even bigger DGL guy, especially if this guy's going to be a really big bench piece. I mean, through 2 games, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, Big Ten 6th man of the year. Is he Andre Corbello in 2021? Like, I'm just saying, like, don't let a guy dream as much as I've been dreaming since the end of last night's game. 1 game, I know, but I just had to put that out there. I think what we're seeing from Dre Gibbs Lawhorn in these 2 games, one that doesn't count and one against a mid-major, it's definitely setting some possibilities in my brain to think that maybe, just maybe, this guy can have an even bigger role than what we all might have expected coming into this year. So That's where I'm at, man. Okay. All right. There's not much else I can say about the game. Again, I think we saw a good idea of like what this team is going to be. Like they're going to jack up a ton of threes. You jacked up 42 threes. You played fast. I'm going to question the defense all season, but you definitely showed just how good you possibly can be. And now it's all about creating that continuity, that team chemistry, and trying to get better these next couple games before you go and play a team like Alabama. Okay. So, that's where I'm at, and I'm excited to see how things go. This is how I'm trying to have balanced expectations through the non-conference. My expectations will for sure raise up once the Big Ten season starts based off whatever happens the rest of November and December. But you have a very tough non-conference schedule. You got 4 SEC schools. You got to play Wisconsin in December. You got to play Northwestern in December. And Penn State as well. All I'm saying is that these next 2 months are crucial for team chemistry, continuity, those types of things. So all I can hope is that these next 2 months, these next few games, especially if we're talking in the present, help do what I'm asking. So they did first good step tonight or last night based off how they played against Ole Miss. Of course, you played a much lesser team, whatever. But I think that it's better to see what we saw than perhaps what Purdue fans saw or what UNC fans saw against those mid-major schools. That's all. That's really all I'm trying to say. So before we get out of here, we got another comment from Lyndon. He says, how many games do you think it will take Will Riley to get in the starting lineup? I mean, that's a good question, man. I don't know. I think it really depends on shot selection, stuff like that. If he defends, I could see him in the starting lineup come Big Ten season. I could see him in the starting lineup sometime in December. But I don't know. I think we all know how much Brad values defense, like guys who try on defense. Considering how they want to play and all these things, I think that he will find himself in there eventually, but I think it will take some time. That's my gut feeling. But great question. I won't say it will be in November. I can't say it will be in November. I'd say maybe December, but more likely January and beyond, perhaps, depending on how guys are playing, of course, right? If Riley keeps putting up 30-point games or, keeps, being this hot from three, how can you keep him out, right? But it's one game. It's against Eastern Illinois. So got to step back a little bit, take the microscope up, right? So anyway, all right. That's all I got, guys. Illinois, they win 112-67. Ty Rodgers, redshirting. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's in Brad. In Brad, we trust. In Brad, we trust. Okay? That's what it's always going to be for me until I need to think otherwise. In Brad, we trust. So, anyway, if you want to share more thoughts, as you can see on the screen, hit that voicemail phone number, send your thoughts, and I will play it on the next podcast. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the like button before you leave if you haven't already. I would appreciate it if you did. And yeah, Illinois plays SIUE on Friday. I was actually planning to go to the game, but now I am watching a dog and I have to stay in Chicago. So that's unfortunate. I am hopeful to be able to go to one of these non-conference games. Probably looking more so in December because my entire month of November, I am watching so many dogs. So I'm kind of bummed out, but I also need the money. So it is what it is. I am also hoping that I can go to Northwestern in early December. I'm crossing my fingers that my guy Mark Carman can come through for me. I'm optimistic. So we'll see. But I am determined to get down to State Farm this season. I did not get to go last year. But I somehow went to like 3 or 4 different games. They were all on the road. But yeah, optimistic this year. I will find a way. We'll find a way. All right. Okay. As always, guys, I appreciate the support. Again, hit that like button on your way out. And as always, ILL.